Thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners. We come back to Albion Park on Saturday night. 11 races again, big program, feature night of racing because it's QBred Breeders' Classic Race Night. The 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, they're set to shine on Saturday night. And again, we've got another really strong free-for-all as well, which features the return to racing of the star performer Turn It Up. So that's all in front of us on Saturday night. We need some help finding some winners. We've been able to track down Adam Sanderson and Trent Dawson. Feature night of racing coming through at Albion Park on Saturday night. Adam Sanderson, as per normal, he's got a hand to play in these features and he joins us now. Adam, appreciate the time.
It's been a long time, Chris. My pleasure.
Absolutely. Hold on to your bling. We get straight into the features. Race 3, 3-year-old Colts and Geldings, QBred Breeders' Classic Final. Naturally, was there a little disappointment when the field was released earlier in the week with that draw?
Yeah, no, there always is when you draw outside the second line, but you know, that's the hand wear it out. So we'll just deal with it on the night and hopefully we get a bit of luck.
Okay. Is he good enough to win this race, though, just on sheer ability, matching him up against the others? Is he just as good?
Yeah, I think he's right up there, you know, with them. The run in Sydney in the Derby heat sort of proved he's not far behind them good ones. So he's had a few issues and he hasn't had a run for 4 or 5 weeks is sort of the only question mark. But yeah, on sheer ability, he's right up there.
Okay, so just on that point, the fact that there's a month between runs and you've got to overcome this tricky draw, the outside of the second row, is that the biggest concern that you have?
Yeah, in saying that, he does come to hand pretty quick. You know, his fresh up runs are always pretty sharp. So you know, it's just going to be sort of dictated on sort of what luck we get on the night.
So you're hoping that they probably overdo it with this front row, and that could happen for real life. He's drawn out in gate 7, so if they commit and he gets left out there, that's going to bring you right into this race.
Yeah, no, he is. You know, he's a go-forward type, and you know, Free Think is sort of progressive horse. He raced quite well in the Derby down in Sydney too. So you know, I sort of need them to you know, go to war, and hopefully we can just be the sniper's shot at the end. Okay,
just looking back at that replay of his most recent start, he was really sharp that day.
Yeah, he was. You know, he sort of second up and he run the gate good and felt good doing it. So he done what he had to, and you know, as I say, it's just that sort of break between runs is my only question mark.
Okay, so which one do you fear more out of those two big guns there? Free Thinker or For Real Life, or do you really rate Apollo Dreams as well?
Yeah, actually I forgot about him. He's quite a handy horse too. But I think sort of Free Thinker, I think he's the most progressive. I quite was taken with his run in Sydney, and you know, that's sort of been the making of him. He's quite strong. I know, albeit in a trot rods heat, but he's sort of got the runs on the board. So you know, they're all going to be hard to beat, but I think he's right up there.
Okay, well that's a good race, no doubt. But hold on to your bling. Just needs that little bit of luck because of the draw. What about in the 3-year-old fillies, QBred Breeders' Classic Final? Exciting times. She's a last start winner as well, and she comes up with a good draw. Could she lead this field?
You know, I sort of would like to. You know, I think Wayne Graham's horse drawn 1, they'll sort of be keen to lead, and you know, when saying that they've sort of got the favourite on their back, so I'm not sure what will happen, but you know, her best races are in front, so you know, it's definitely the making of her if she can sort of get to the lead.
Okay, just on this last start victory, how do you rate that? Was that one of her better wins? Because she had to absorb a little bit of pressure, so how do you rate the victory?
Yeah, it definitely was her best win. You know, she sort of sprinted hard for 400 or 500 metres and got looked at, and you know, was sort of strong enough on the line too. So, in career best time. So she's just definitely progressive, but you know, for some reason, you know, I can't put my finger on it. She certainly definitely runs her best races in front.
Okay, could this race set up as leader behind leader? Talk Like Motion drawn to lead from barrier 1, Jewel Melody right behind it, so they could really control this race, couldn't they?
Yeah, that's definitely a scenario, but you know, if I was drawn 1, I wouldn't want Jewel Melody on my back, so that's an option for you know, for Shane to make up. But in saying that, Jewel Melody she's just sort of got that class on sort of most of her roles in this, so I doubt they'll be sort of wanting to rely on luck all the same.
Yeah, could be an interesting race, that 3-year-old fillies final. What about the 2-year-old fillies final? More Sash, she comes back from that Sydney campaign down there. Was it a case that she just lost sight of the lure down there in Sydney?
Yeah, it sort of was. You know, the occasion sort of might have got the best of her. You know, she sort of got cheeked on the first corner and sort of lost a bit of interest after that, and it was a terrible night. You know, the rain was heavy all night, and the track was pretty heavy, and she's sort of more a speedy type, so I think that sort of negated her key attributes too. So I think it was just a mixture of things and first trip away, so hopefully Saturday night we can see the best of her.
What were your thoughts on gate 7?
Yeah, not ideal. Definitely, all night we sort of haven't drawn great, but she's got good gate speed, and a few of them sort of inside her don't sort of pace that great and do a few things wrong. So I'm sort of hoping I can get across and sort of dictate, and there's quite a few progressive fillies drawn the second line, so if we can sort of stay in front of them, that'll be the key to her chances. Yeah,
it's a good race because Better Collect looked really good first up off a really good trial. You've got Riley Rainbow unbeaten, and the key runner is the David Thorntrain filly, Everard. She's a daughter of Forever Gold. So there's a couple of likely types and progressive types like you outlined.
Yeah, for sure. Riley Rainbow's looked good, unbeaten so far, and I sort of thought Grant's horse was, even before it raced its trials, it looked pretty sharp. So he sort of always seems to time his run at the right time. And as you say, the question mark is, David Thorne's run and fit travel's good, and it looks strong enough winning too. So it's going to be interesting.
Okay. What about race number 8? This is another Breeders' Classic final. This one for the Colts and Geldings. 1 start, 1 victory. Field Officer Jujon, you drove him that day at Reckless. So this is a steep rise in grade, but you can only win, and he looked good.
Yeah, he sort of surprised me. He'd done a lot of work early, and was really stretched out for 400 metres, and sort of raced in patches throughout the race. And on the corner, I sort of thought he was in a bit of trouble, and he sort of gathered his momentum and hit the line actually quite strong. So as you say, this is a big step up, but as you say, you can only do as much as win.
Well, you've got options from the draw as well. If the emergency comes out, Attachment's going to be strongly fancied, many expecting him to lead. My Alderman Buddha draws behind him. Is going to the pegs a bad option?
No, definitely not. Pegs are never a bad option around Albion Park in a 2-year-old race. And the way Pete's horse trialled the other day, it looked quite strong against old horses, and we all know he loves to lead and run, so Pegs might be the best option.
Okay, and like you said just before with Grant Dixon, he knows how to peak them for the big grand finals, so there's got to be more improvement to come with Field Officer Jujon.
Yeah, guaranteed. From trials to races and a few runs under their belt, they always seem to step up.
Okay, well, that's a good chance there. Field Officer Jujon, and they've got you here for the final race on Saturday night, the Trot. Phoebe Onyx, second up in Queensland. You're down to drive for the first time. 4th last week. How did you assess that effort?
Actually, I haven't seen the replay or anything, so I'm not sort of sure how it went, but I'm sure it'll be tip-top after its first run, so fingers crossed. It's quite a strong field. These trotting fields are getting stronger each week, so they're never easy. Yeah,
absolutely. So out of your drives on Saturday night in these finals, which one are you most looking forward to?
Probably, the little blinging on fella. I always love driving him, so it's going to be an interesting race, and we've just got to pray for a bit of luck.
Okay, race 3, number 11. Hold on to your bling. Adam, as always, really appreciate the time, and we'll see you trackside.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Trent Dawson with a couple of key drives on Saturday night, including for real life in that 3-year-old Q-Bred Breeders' Classic final. We'll get to him in just a moment, but Trent's in the hot seat now. Trent, appreciate the time.
No worries, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Let's go through your drives. Race 1, number 1, Glenletty Boys had the 4 runs back. You've been behind him in 3 of those runs. Is there improvement there?
Yeah, I think he's getting close to a win. He's sort of been crying out for a barrier draw, and he finally got a good one. So, he's probably going to be thereabouts from 1. If we can stay close enough to the lead somewhere there, I wouldn't say we'd be in front, but if we can be behind the leader, I think he's looming towards being a threat. It's a tough little race, as they always are in that grade, but there's actually sort of a couple coming back in grade into it as well. So it's it's probably got a bit tougher, but the draw improved a lot. So.
Yeah, okay, because I was keen to get your thoughts on this runner, because I think he's going okay, just sort of flying under the radar. And in barrier 1, that's a big plus. So if Pete McMullen, drawn alongside you, wants to find the front, is he the horse to follow and trail?
Well, I mean, it's been going good, that horse. He probably is. It sort of depends on what speed comes out from out wider, but I think ideally if he could tuck in behind the leader somewhere, that's probably going to be really give him a really good shot.
Do you think this race is going to generate good tempo?
Probably. They don't usually loiter in this grade too much. So I'd say someone will get excited at some point in the race and put a bit of toe in it.
So is that good for you? The faster the better?
Well, as long as we can hold a good spot, and we haven't been burned, or whatever we're following, hasn't been burned too hard that it's going to stop in your face. But you sort of always want your good barriers. You want to be in a good position, but you want it to take you right the way to the straight too. So hopefully, if they do go hard, it's all in the right way.
Okay, well that's barrier 1 in the first race. You've got some tough marbles hereafter because race 2, Yep got chooks. He's got to overcome the outside of the second row, saddlecloth number 12.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what you can do from there. He's going okay without going great. I think he's probably gone better. He's probably had his chance last week and couldn't really get the chocolates, but he didn't get beaten far. He's probably going to find it tough from 12, but we'll try and make something up as we go.
I was going to get your thoughts on last week. Were you a little disappointed immediately after the race?
He's a funny horse when he's in front. Sometimes he just doesn't. He doesn't really switch on that much. He sort of at the 300. If you were selling tickets on him, I would have said we were all out and we could, we're going to run well down the track. But as soon as the horse sort of on our back got up beside us, he raced it right to the line. It would have been nice if he wanted to race it and stick his head in front of it, but he got a neck in front of us and we stayed there all the way up the straight. So it was disappointing that he didn't stick it out a bit more, but probably, I don't think he's that far below being good, but he's just not quite there at this point.
Okay, so with this draw, you've just got to take your medicine and hope for luck.
Pretty much, Chris.
Yep, okay. Now, I'm keen to get your thoughts on race 3, horse 7 for real life. He's one of the flagship paces, not only in your stable, but in the state, and this promises to be a really good contest. QBred Breeders' Classic final, 3-year-old colts in geldings. 2 runs back, and they've been explosive victories. So, is he right where you want him to be?
Yeah, we're, our last 2 runs that sort of prepped us up nicely, and, we've got some pretty good targets coming up over the next 3 months. So, this one's, another stepping stone, but it's a stone where we're ready to go for a, he's ready for a good hit out on Saturday night, and hopefully things fall our way and we can get a good enough spot early on, and I think if we can and no one's sort of getting it too easy without in front or anywhere like that, I think we should be a good shot.
Okay. His sectionals have been just super. We know he's capable of running really high numbers. You've probably tossed this race around in your head ever since Monday night when those fields came out. What are you sort of thinking right now with Gate 7?
Well, the way I look at it from Gate 7, there's probably 3 or 4 horses on the front there. Someone's going to have to fire a shot. There's going to at least have to be 2 or 3 people fire a shot. If no one wants to fire a shot, then I'm happy to. But being from out there, we got to have a look, and if they decide they want to fire the shots first, well then, it's obviously going to be tough to cross them. There's a bit of speed there, but they're going to have to decide to fire their own shots early. So we'll be ready, but we'll be watching too.
Okay. Does he have to lead to win? Is he capable of following speed and then producing that same scintillating burst late in his races?
Oh yeah, it's kind of looked like he's a mad leader at this point because most of his races he's won in front. But we train him on a helmet all the time, and it doesn't matter what we train him with. He sort of picks him up and can ping him in 50 metres. So we sort of got some handy ones there we can work him with. So I got no doubt, if he can find a helmet, even if he's chasing a target, I think that's when we'll see the best out of him when he does have a target to chase. Right now, as quick as his last quarters have been, he's only just doing what he has to do a little bit. So if we get a race, I think he's going to go in for the dogfight.
Okay, the flip side to that is you've obviously analysed those horses off the front row. You're drawn out in 7, so you can probably build up a little bit of momentum as the gate gets ready to release you. Can you just fire across and lead?
Probably not. There's probably a bit of toe there. I think Free Think is quite a quick horse, and there's still a bit of toe underneath them. But we're going to be ready for anything, and it's just a matter of whether those runners inside, if they want to commit to coming out hard, well then it's going to make it tough for us to cross them. But if they're not 100% committed, well you know, we could well take a shot.
Okay, which one are you more worried about? Is it Apollo Dreams or Free Thinker?
Oh, I mean, there's probably sort of both of those have got a bit of toe. I mean, we see Free Thinkers, you know, quite quick his last couple, and even in the Derby, you know, he led the Derby in New South Wales. So, you know, he's got quite a bit of toe. But you know, probably even Regatta Tilly, Apollo Dreams, they're probably not as quick as Free Thinker, but they're more than quick enough to be making that first quarter quite hectic if they want to.
Okay. As you said, you've got some big targets over the next couple of months, but right now you're not swapping him for anything?
No, but I'm biased too, so, but I love him, but, you know, there's a fair bit to love about him at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, and with good reason. I'll ask you just about your other drive. It's the emergency in the 2-year-old Colts and Geldings final. Rock on Rocky, 3 starts, 3 placings. If he lands a start, he shouldn't be too far away again here.
Yeah, well, he's not been too bad, that horse. Steadily improving. You know, probably over the last month or 6 weeks. So I guess it's in the lap of the gods. But I mean, when you draw one, they'd be hoping that someone gets a high temperature on Saturday morning.
Yeah, yeah, fair call. So for real life, we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, well, at this point, I hope so.
Okay, well, we'll take the tip. Race 3, number 7 for real life. Trent, as always, really appreciate the time, and we'll see you trackside.
Thanks, Chris.
As always, a big thanks to our drivers, Adam Sanderson and Trent Dawson, giving up their time and insights ahead of their night on Saturday night. Hopefully, a few winners for both there on the weekend. Time now for a good thing. I think we strike early. We'll steer clear of those feature races. Race 2, I like the chances of number 8, Speak With Sam. Going really well, this horse. He's definitely a fence horse, so when he's on the fence, he seems to be a lot better, and he's drawn to follow out his stablemate, Comanche Warrior, who's got early speed. So if he ends up behind the leader, I think he's going to be in a really dangerous spot. Race 2, number 8, Speak With Sam. That's my good thing for the weekend. 11 races, and we kick off just after 5 o'clock. If you are gambling this weekend, please do so responsibly.